Right, hello and welcome. We are back. I hope that everybody is in the lobby and ready to go. Apologise for the technical issues we've had as we all look at that glorious scene. Everybody spread your arms out and do the T-pose. It's the Codemaster's famous loading screen. It happens every time. I kind of love it. Fingers crossed we won't have any more technical issues going forward, and most importantly, it's looking like it's an absolutely gorgeous day, which is just what we want to see, because doing this place in the wet is a bit of a challenge. So fingers crossed it stays dry until the end. And fingers crossed, he's back, he's with me, the man from Red Car. Ryan, you're here. Are you ready for this up-and-coming Tier 4 race?
Absolutely am. Hopefully there's a bit of entertainment there. Hopefully everybody has a good race.
I hope so too. Let's just bring up the most important data as we go around, which will be the tyres. We've got Antstoke and Chelsea starting on the mediums, then we've got hard runners all the way down from Dirty Harry to Johnny Smooth. And then Night Shadows on the mediums, Biff on the hards. We've got a good mixture there. Interestingly, down in 19th, we've got Markham starting on the softs. You can do a two-stop round here. It's probably medium, medium, soft, or soft, medium, medium. With a safety car, it's viable. Do you think that will be a viable tactic against the one-stop runners today?
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure the two-stop is around 4 seconds slower than the one-stop.
Okay.
So it is possible.
Yeah, and it's
going to be how fast and how big you can make that gap.
Yeah, precisely. It depends on how well the tyres do around here. The hards are okay, but clearly, like, the mediums and the softs feel a lot better. I think Markham's going to have to really lean on that soft tyre early on and make the most of it. He's going to have to make up places if he wants the strategy to work. Or the other option is get lucky with your safety cars. It's always likely that we might see an early safety car around here, because even though it's not a street circuit, Canada, those barriers are really close, and that's why we tend to see quite a few DNFs, unfortunately.
It's actually a hybrid circuit, isn't it?
Oh, what, a bit like Melbourne, where there are bits that are...
I think it is street and normal race. Sure.
That would make sense. I know it is on the island, separated from everything, so yeah. Let's do that. Right, let's see it as we just have our drivers lining up. Gorgeous shot there, as you can see, everybody warming their tyres. Antstoke will be starting to feel that now, starting to feel those little butterflies. I don't know what it's like to be in pole, I'm never there, but I think he's a man who might want to be there for quite a lot of this season, so let's see if he gets used to it. The final driver lines up right at the back. Little alarm in place, and we are ready. So we've got 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, hold, and we're away. And Anthony's off to a great start there from Chelsea as they head down into turn 1. Oh, they're going to go 3 wide, are they? No, Ant's got a huge lead at the back as we see everybody come through. And it all seems nice and tidy at the moment. This is Scottish Ninja up into second place. I don't know if Brindle had a slight moment as he's down into fourth. Oh, we've got a Mercedes round there. Who's that? Is that 38? Yes, we've got 38 down at the back, so he's gone all the way to the back of the field. So unfortunate. But apart from that, I think we are fairly side by side. Let's quickly get the detail of the position changes.
Chelsea's round.
Chelsea's round as well. Oh goodness me, yeah, that's such a shame for the Haas driver. He started in second, was he? Yeah, second place. Now he's all the way back. I can't see any damage. We've got a yellow as well. Who's that for? Oh, it's like Nikolai Lima, and it's that 38. I don't know if they've had a coming together. But, yeah, they're fighting at the back now. Back out in front. Look at the gap Antstoke has made.
He's got no front wing.
Let's have a look at that as well. Oh yes, gosh, he's been caught up in something. That's just kind of an idea, just to let as many cars past as possible, because you are going to have to go back into the pits. No way that you can survive with that for another 34 laps. Let's go back to the tyres then. And see what the big battles are on track. Dirty Harry is all over the back of Scottish Ninja. Let's see how they fare as they go down this tight 50 section. It's a really tricky track for overtaking here. Where are the main overtaking spots, do you think? Where are we going to see the main opportunities around this circuit?
Well, the big one is the back straight after the hairpin. That's going to be the main overtaking spot.
Yeah, there are about 3 DRS zones in there. That's one of them. The other one's on the start-finish straight, and the next is on that weird little section, but I always feel too short. As we've got 3 yellows, that's a safety car already. Nikolai Lima has lost it, I think, into turn 1. Let's stay on board with Ant Stoke. Let's see if we can see what's happened to Nikolai Lima. It's been a rough old night for him. No lap set in quali, starting P20 on the grid, and unfortunately that's his race over by lap 2.
Yeah. Markham's had a great start on them softs as well.
Yeah, where did he start? Back in 19th, 18th, all the way up to 12th.
Yeah.
I feel the safety car's just come a little bit too early for him, but maybe he can extend those softs out. Lots of people say that they can last about sort of like 10, 12 laps, particularly if you're under a safety car as well.
Yeah.
Got drivers coming to the pits as well. 38 has got off those hards and is now onto a pair of mediums. I reckon you could go, medium to the end. These mediums last around about 17 laps, which is about half the race, isn't it?
Yeah. Depending how you drive them as well, as car setup is crucial. There's loads of different little factors in there. But 17 should be feasible.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I know he's got a 5-second penalty as well, unfortunately, from speeding in the pit lane. Fingers crossed he can get that removed at his next one so it doesn't count at the end. I think this is a track that, we said how tough it is to overtake around here and how often safety cars come out. It's also a really easy track to get penalties at as well, and I feel that if you can avoid penalties right to the end, a late safety car can completely change a race.
Yeah, it definitely can.
I don't know if we've seen...
There's a few corners that are really weird, the track limits around here.
Which ones are those in particular? Have you got any in mind?
You've got the... what's turn 4? Is it turn 4?
The blind one? Yeah.
Yeah. You've got that one, then you've got the chicane after that. And then you've got underneath the bridge, that's a weird one.
Yep.
Can get you. Then obviously you've got the big one, the Wall of Champions.
Yeah. I think that's what makes this circuit so there are circuits where you can kind of like switch off or almost do it by memory. We started off in Spain, right, which I think is a great circuit for that because you know it so well. You've raced it in every F1 game forever. We had really few track limits there. And it's very rare that people do. Like if you get one, it's because you've been stupid, right? Or you've cut it, and you know what steps you can take to avoid it. Around here, I feel sometimes it's just an absolute lottery, or it only takes you to push that little bit more, and suddenly you're across the line, and you get 1, 2, and then once you're on 2, I feel I have to drive so conservatively to try and avoid getting any. And I reckon, oh gosh, we've got Geke's out. Geke's out. What's happened there? She's in the wall.
He's had a collision with 30.
Yeah, let's see if we're on board with Smith now. Smith's left the session. Fingers crossed we can get back in. We'll just see the car has been... Oh no, the car is there on the side of the road. Gosh. Yeah, there's a lot of that car in the wall. I don't know if he's had a George Russell moment.
Possibly.
Or if it was like Grosjean and he thinks Ericsson hit us. If there was any contact, I'm sure we'll be seeing that in the stewards later. That might just keep the safety car out for one more lap. Fingers crossed we don't get many more.
Yeah, let's have a good race.
So, there are a lot of famous drivers that come from Canada. Gilles Villeneuve, of course, who the circuit is named after, and his son,
Jax
Jacques, yeah. Who's I think the F1 community is fairly divided on Jacques Villeneuve. Are you a fan? Do you think he was somebody who was deserving of that championship, or do you think he's somebody who just sort of got the right car at the right time?
I'm always confused which one's the oldest.
So Gilles is the father. He never won a world championship. So Jacques is the son who won in 1997 with a very strong Williams car. We're talking about the Williams that was outperforming Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari, the Mercedes with like Hakkinen and Coulthard. They weren't quite there yet. And Damon Hill, the previous champion in 1996, he left the Williams team and had been replaced with Heinz Harald Frentzen, who although was good, clearly wasn't sort of like, he wasn't another world championship in the making. He's not like these people where you see like a Max or a Fernando, where you're like, yeah, they just need the right car. He was somebody who thought through it. But
funny you mentioned them, because I was just last night watching something on YouTube about Gilles.
What was that? Was it about, because he is one of the more tragic stories in F1, unfortunately.
It was his teammate, is it Didier? Was it Didier? Didier Pironi or?
That sounds about right.
Something like that?
Yeah.
When he stole it, he tried to say he was stealing a win from him. I think it was Imola.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It might have been Imola.
Right, sorry, I'll just stop you there. We are about to go racing again as Ant Stoke leads the way. Scottish Ninja in second. We've got Brindle all over the back there. I don't think we've got anybody going for a move. We're all being very well behaved on this safety car restart. Nobody's really got a drop on anyone yet, but it has bunched the field together quite nicely. Let's see if we get anybody going for those aggressive moves now. Sorry. Back to your point about Didier Pironi.
And 38 in the wall.
38 in the wall. Again, he's struggled tonight, hasn't he? I don't know if he's trying without any assists on or something like that, but it does seem to be a complete turnaround in form. He also hasn't had any luck these first few laps.
Well, you only have to push that a little bit more around here, as you know, and it can really bite you.
Yeah, it can. Johnny smooth there on Zondas, on the hard tyres against Zondas on the mediums. He looked really racy going into that hairpin, and now it's going to be a straight fight. I wonder how much ERS they're all using. It's a place where it's really hard to conserve your ERS. You need to know when to spend it, and without the DRS available, I think he's saving it just now, as we've got the fastest lap from Ant Stoke. Nice shadow up his
gone at the World Champions. Someone's gone.
Oh, that's man. Let's go back to 38 to see what's happened. Was that brought out? Yes, it has. That's very strange, yeah. That's weird. And it's brought out unfortunately, it's our second safety car in only 6 laps as 38 goes into the pits for a new nose, but he's also decided enough is enough for tonight. He's going to retire as well. Don't know if he had rear wing damage, so our field of 20 has been reduced to 16 now. Just a little reset for the field. If you were Markham on those soft tyres, would you stick with them, or would you take this opportunity to get off them and move on to?
Yeah, I would come in. Yeah. I would come in now.
It's a free pit stop. You've tried to spend them. It hasn't worked because, yeah, you've had the race so disrupted by safety cars. So if you're listening, Mark, I decided to get in. Got Mandy Grantham in the chat. Maybe she watched the same one as you, although I don't know if you were talking about interesting documentary on Didier Pironi and Gilles Villeneuve as well. I need to look up more about them.
Yeah, but I was saying about the stolen win or something, wasn't I?
Yeah, what happened there? Was it?
Well, Gilles Villeneuve went wide onto the grass, and he went through and he was just battling all race through basically, and then obviously Gilles had his tragic accident, and Didier was the one straight out of the hospital, even though Gilles no longer liked him, so it just shows a lot about the man.
Yeah, I was reading, I've just read it, I've just looked it up. Apparently, Yeah, he was furious. Villeneuve was so furious with Pironi, he vowed never to say another word to him. And then just 2 weeks later, at the Belgian Grand Prix at Zolder, so not at Spa but at Zolder, he was killed trying to beat Pironi's lap time, which is, it's absolutely tragic. And gosh, when you look back at those, there was a wonderful documentary that I saw a few years ago about those years in F1 where you just had drivers, you would start the field with 20 drivers and you knew you weren't going to make it to the end of the season with all of those people still alive. I think it's terrifying, isn't it? And such a testament to how safe the sport is nowadays after you've seen things like Roman Grosjean in Bahrain. Can you imagine that crash?
That's the scariest we've seen, I think.
Yeah, it is certainly the scariest in my lifetime. I wasn't old enough for Senna, but goodness me, watching that. You've seen the film Senna, haven't you? And the whole weekend that they've
talking about Senna, he's got a Netflix documentary coming out as well, a new one.
Forward to that. Just like Senna, all the drivers are on the way. They're trying to make the most of this safety car restart. And he's on the go. Scottish Ninja behind Dirty Harry made up a little bit of space. He's just 0.2 behind. He's going to make a move. No, keeps it nice and tidy into turn one. It's quite interesting now. You've got those medium runners on 8-lap-old on 8 laps old. They might be starting to feel it a bit more. I think that their time to really get the advantage over the hard runners has gone with this safety car period. But really
Markham is down to P15, did he? Did he either?
He did.
He's on the mediums.
That's sensible. Got another yellow. Who's that?
Smoggy Ghost.
He's missing his front wing as well. It's been a bad night for the Mercedes at the moment. Going to get that triangle back into the pits as soon as possible. And Stoke, just shout out to him at the moment. Every time the safety car goes, he checks out the front. He's already got a second on Scottish Ninja. I don't think he wants to give this up anytime soon. Stay on board with Brindle now, who's just 0.2 seconds behind. Gosh. Don't know if you're seeing this. Have a look at the difference between him and Night Shadow. I know that Gab goes for a skinny setup. He's just pulling away on those straights. He will be a nightmare to pass this evening.
He does like them skinny wings, does Gab.
Yeah.
Miami's a prime example, you just couldn't catch him.
He knows where to use it, doesn't he? Miami, I think, is a circuit that's a bit similar to round here, where there's not that many overtaking opportunities, and the only one is on a long straight, so he makes the most of it, and is a very good defensive driver. Saying that, Brindle is all over the back of Gab in the corners. It's the one gap I'm looking at where it's just keeping under 0.2. I wonder if Brindle's smart and he can save his ERS as soon as the DRS is available. That'll be the battle to watch.
Yeah, totally agree. Schmidt's in the wall. He's lost his front wing.
Oh, that's such a shame. We've got a lot of people losing it. It's just lost it. That's an easy place to lose it as well, isn't it? And we've got another safety car. I don't know if that's been brought out by Schmidt, but they do seem a little bit trigger happy with these safety cars this season.
Yeah.
We had a lot in Spain in Tier 3 I was commentating on last week, and again the curse strikes. As Michael Massey puts his finger on the button and says, no racing for you. You can only race in 1 to 2 lap bursts. I don't know what the record is for safety cars. Is it about 4 or 5 in a single race?
I think it's 5.
It is.
I'm not totally sure on that. It will be 4 or 5 though. I'm certain on that.
Yeah, I do think after a while the game, after 4 safety cars, the game takes pity on you and doesn't put any more out. So fingers crossed we don't get another one. Yeah, or otherwise we'll just be talking about Senna and documentaries all night. But no, what's the new Senna document? Have they got a new one coming out? Is it a documentary or is it that they've got an actor playing?
They've got an actor playing his life. I think it's only 4 episodes.
Yeah.
There's no date on it yet, like.
Okay.
So hopefully that's very soon. Can't wait to watch that.
I know that you're a huge fan of Ayrton Senna. What is it about him that makes it so special to you as a race car driver? Because, like, how old would you have been when he was racing? Is it somebody that you watched racing growing up, or is it one that you've looked back at from the past and gone?
I've always looked back.
Yeah.
I was 1993, so I weren't too old. But what a fantastic racer. You just watch everything he does, and he's just fantastic, the things he did to make that car work.
Yeah, I think he's special because of the way he drove, right? He drove the car in such a unique way. I think the thing that really, like, obviously lots of people mention, I don't think I'd never heard the name Ayrton Senna before, but when I realised how special he was, is there's a feature they did in Top Gear about him. Have you seen that one where they talked to Martin Brundle about?
I don't think so.
Oh, if you haven't, look it up, because it's got some really good insights, because Martin Brundle raced with Senna in, I think it was Formula 3 before they even went to Formula 1 and experienced it, and the way that he said that he made the car dance, the control he has over the rear end is impeccable. And even the way that he used to sort of feather the throttle to get the most out of the turbo as well, like just little.
He used to go around corners keep tapping it so it didn't seize up. He was very clever.
Exactly. His throttle map looks mad, and that's why. But it's just like, if you want an example of why he's special and why he's different and why it was so kind of weird putting him against, I think he had a great rival as well in Prost that makes it a bit different, because Prost was like the anti-Senna in every way. He was sensible. He was the one who would always race to the racing line. He would take a second place and not go for the win if he meant and thought it would like benefit him in the long run. Senna to me always struck me as a guy who was like, yeah, all or nothing. That's me. I always want to prove myself as the fastest racer.
You only have to watch what he did in Monaco in the wet for him to shut the race down and stop him winning. What a fantastic drive that was.
Absolutely crazy. Right, we will stop reminiscing about Ayrton Senna for a moment, and we'll watch as the cars go racing again in the safety car. Ant's gone very early. Once again, he's kept the field sleeping a little bit. Scottish Ninjas in second place, Dirty Harry in third. Field spread out nice and well. I think him going so early really does help spread the field out. There's about a second gap between some of them, down from 6 to 7.
9th, 10th, 11th to 10th. A few second gaps out there straight away.
Yeah, so usually it bunches the field up, but maybe having a few spread out like this means that we will be saved another safety car and we can go actual racing for another few laps. But look at Johnny Smooth gone round. Side by side, unfortunately, but yeah, I don't know if he wasn't given quite enough space. Winky and CB Sandow, Winky's all over the back of him as well. Oh my goodness me, and look what I've seen. I don't know if you can see it on your screen as well. This race wasn't even more interesting. I think the weather has just turned up to say hello.
Yeah, I can see it now, yeah. It's trickling.
So, the drivers that have started out, maybe that's why Markham started on the softs, maybe he took...
Gav's come in the pits, is he going to give us a little insight?
Ready, let's just stick with him. Those mediums are coming off, and yep. That's very early, but we've got lots of drivers coming in. Maybe they saw what happened in Tier 2 earlier in the week, where, yeah, once it gets wet round here, it's very tricky. There's a lot of rear end in this circuit, isn't there? You need to keep the rear end under control, as we've seen. Oh, Smith go round as well. Maybe that's a sign that it's not a good idea to stay out on those dry tyres for too long. All eyes here now fixed on the leader, Ant Stoke. What is he going to do? Is he going to pit? Or is he going to keep it out and wait for that? It's usually that sign when it says DRS is no longer available. That's when we know that it's definitely the crossover point.
Yeah, well, that's when I normally actually come into the pit.
Otherwise, it's a bit unreliable. Problem is for these...
another safety car.
Another safety car? Oh, okay, cool. Why not? Sure. Let's see. I'm going to keep an eye on Gav here. So if you were... Yeah, so Ant dives straight into the pits. I think with the rain coming down in the safety car, it's an absolute no-brainer. He's coming to the pits. If you've got a Hassler, that's Chelsea with no front wing. Maybe they are really struggling. Gav's going to be... Let's see where Gav comes out in front of this pack. He was the first to go on Inters. How much time did he gain in that lap, and how much time is he going to gain over the others? I think he came in and he was in, what, 4th, 5th place? A very long
I think he was in 7th, wasn't he?
7th, okay. Comes out in 5th place. Oh. Goodness me. He comes out in 5th place, but I don't know if there has been a glitch or people were just too eager to get into the pits, but look at those penalties. We have got drive-through penalties for every driver from 1st to 4th, and Biff in 6th.
Yeah.
I know, I've got an inkling of maybe what's happened there. I've done it before. You go into the pits, and you think that's fine, you think that's your safety car interval over. If you really rev it out of the pits, the safety car interval still applies as you go out of the line, and I've had it suddenly switch on me, and the delta's gone a bit funny. So those drivers, as soon as the safety car in, they'll have to pit straight away, otherwise they do risk the DNF glitch that we've seen as well. So if you are listening to the stream, as soon as you see the safety car is going in, I recommend that you get in the pits as soon as possible to avoid that.
I think the problem's going to be the leader will have to go over the start straight.
Oh Christ, yes he will, won't he? So, oh goodness me. Fingers crossed we don't see another I don't want this, you know, Ant Stokes driven such a good race up to this point, I don't want it to be decided by Codemasters shenanigans, but if there is anybody who can make up the time, I guess, it is him and the rest of the drivers behind.
It'll be interesting to see where he can make them overtakes.
Yeah, I think it's one of those tracks where you want to see the fast drivers behind and challenged, because when you're faster around here, they're the ones that find the interesting places to overtake. I found on Monday night that if you are really brave, you can go side by side into the blind turner corner 4, and you can make it through there, and even if you're very brave down into 6, 7, as we're just watching the Aston Martin of Night Shadow, here as well, you can send it up the inside and get better traction as you come out into that DRS zone. Interesting thing now is that if the rain continues to come down, we will have no more DRS. They'll be relying on that ERS for the entirety of the rest of the race, so that makes overtaking even more difficult. Got a bit of discussion in the YouTube chat about who is the GOAT. I think you would say Senna.
I would say Senna.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
Safety car in this lap. There's a lot of people, and it's almost impossible to compare drivers through generations. That's the impossible thing.
The obvious goes on paper is obviously Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
Followed by Schumacher.
And I think those two are two that I think deserve it, because they've been in. I know they've had fast cars, but when they haven't had the fastest car, they've proved they can do something special in the wet. Or I always think Hamilton during qualifying, what he can do and that he can adapt to a circuit was always really impressive. Yeah. Here we go, safety car restart. Let's see what's going to happen as they go across the line. Fingers crossed we don't get a huge load of DSQs. We haven't so far, so we've got Winky retiring from the session. He's lost it just after the Wall of Champions. But there's no other safety car. I think Michael Massey's had enough for the day. And said that's it. Chelsea going slowly, but we're okay there. Let's see what happens as the rest of this race is unfold. Where are the main battles for you happening in the field right now?
Well, we've got Brindle right on the back of Scottish Ninja. We've got Johnny Sage, yeah, he's made that one. Oh, he hasn't. Ghost Rider's fighting him. The Ghost Rider has spun, I believe. He's lost 2 spots there.
That's a shame. Let's get back. Oh, yes, he has. He's got no front wing on his car either, so he'll be making another stop into the pits. Really interesting thing now is when these leaders, when do these people with the drive-through penalties, and just to remind you, I'll bring it up on screen now, it's the top 4, as it's decided at the moment, when are they going to get into the pits? So I think Ant Stokes had a moment, for some reason he's down in 2nd place.
Scottish Ninja lost a spot there as well.
Yeah, something must have happened there. Are we all going to dive into the pits? The Haas stays on. We've got Ant Stoke going in, the Ferrari behind him, Scottish Ninja. Grindle will stay on. I think Grindle's going to put his pedal to the metal and hope he can get a bit of an overcut on the rest of those drive-through penalty service.
It looks pretty planted in this wet day. See, he might have a wet set of body, you just don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry, just looking at Night Shadow and Dirty Harry. They were side by side in the turn 4. A little bit of contact there. But they've all kept it nice and tidy. Dirty Harry backing out of that one. Let's see if he goes for another move. I think Gav, maybe with his skinnier setup, it was working fine in the dry. In the wet, is he going to have the same advantage? It's going to be fine down the straights, but in those corners, he might find a real struggle with traction.
Well, on this lap alone, he's lost 1.3 seconds since turn 1.
Oh, blimey, yeah. So
the leader.
Yeah, so Brindle's just on another level. See if I can just get, I don't usually do this, but let's get the gap to the leader there. I want to see the gap between Brindle and our, where is it, Scottish Ninja, was it Ant Stoke? 14 seconds. I don't know what the time lost in the pit lane is like, but it'd be really interesting to see if Brindle decides to pit this lap.
Yeah, he's in. It's going to be very close. 38's retired. Or has he just left?
I think he's left. I think, yeah, he retired a few laps ago, so he's decided to leave the session. I'm going to stick with Ant Stoke. Let's see where he comes out. Has this sort of undercut, as it is, worked, or is he going to come out behind Brindle? It's going to be close. Brindle is out of the pit lane. He's into the main corners. Ant Stoke still has a couple of corners to go, and that's worked out really well for Brindle. That's a gap of, what, 4 seconds? Ant Stoke clearly just got stuck in traffic, and that's really cost him.
Brindle's got Markham as well, turn 5. Very brave.
That's excellent as well, and the good thing about Brindle, not only has he not got a drive-through penalty, he hasn't got 3 seconds, which the rest of the people like Ant Stoke, like RFC Danny, have around him, so that has put him in a prime position.
He's also got clear air now as well.
Yeah, and you said how much it was, sort of 1 second, 1.5 seconds a lap. Let's see if that gap continues to come down between him and Dirty Harry and Night Shadows. Dirty Harry once again is all over the back of Gav there. I'm going to stick on board with this one. Pedal to the metal. It's ERS at full bloody low. And look at that. Gav again, just pulling away on those straights. Gap was down to 0.2, up to 0.3. It's not as big as it could be, but it's enough that Dirty Harry gets a really good exit out of there. If this is a chance, Night Shadow goes defensive into turn 1. Is Dirty Harry going to try to the outside? Night Shadow's making that car extremely wide as they get into turn 3. I'm going to think about a move into turn 4 as well as this battle keeps on going side by side. No, keeps it nice and tidy through there. Are there any... I'm going to keep the back to the interval. Any other good battles on track?
The closest battle at the minute was Scottish Ninja and Johnny Smooth.
But Scottish Ninja's just gone into the pits, or he's just coming out. He's put on a set of wet tyres. So, are we going to have another twist in the tail in this?
That's interesting.
Scottish and Ghost Rider. So let's see what the lap times are for them, because if they really start coming down, maybe they'll be the ones on the best tyres until the end of the race. Get on board with Ant Stoke. Sorry, with Dirty Harry and Night Shadow. I don't think he's going to get the move done this time. I'm going to see if anything happens. Oh, there's a big side-by-side moment. Had to cut a bit of the corner there, but they're fine. Brindle's picked up 3 seconds, so that advantage he once had is now gone. I'm going to switch out of this and go back to Ant Stoke, who's all over the back of Smoggy Ghost. So they hair down into turn 1. He's having a little look. I just don't think he's quite got the speed. And RFC Danny is also interested. So yeah, Ant Stoke had very good time on dries, not so good on the inters at the moment.
I really hate the wet.
It's so tricky around here, isn't it? It's such. I found it was really hard to regulate my throttle control in particular.
RFC Danny's on the back of Ant Stoke there as well.
Yeah, Ant Stoke's he's lost a second to Smoggy, who was all behind him, and now he's got so much pressure. I don't know if he's being forced to go defensive, and that's costing him time. Brindle, by the way, it was 5 seconds between him and the leader. Look at that gap now. He's under a second behind Dirty Harry. He's absolutely flying. Let's stick here with Ant Stoke. Yeah, clearly Smoggy Ghost doesn't really like those.
Ninja is out.
That's a shame, and that's another safety car. Our 4th, 5th of the evening. That's going to bunch the field up once again as our field goes down to only 14 drivers. Scottish Ninja was one of our wet runners, so maybe the experiment hasn't quite pulled off as we see another car go into the pits. That's Biff. Oh, he's going to have a drive-through penalty as well, speeding under the safety car. That is so unfortunate. See what tyres he goes on to. He gets a new front nose and he is sticking with inters. So yeah, maybe those wet runners went a bit too early. They don't seem to have worked. Excuse me.
Safety cars this now? 5th, 6th?
Too many, mate. It's too many, quite frankly. I'm writing my email to Code Masters as we speak to just say you don't have to bring it out every time a car goes into a wall. 1 or 2 is absolutely fine. Who have we got? We've got Goat chat in the track. We've got Goats for me would be MS, Michael Schumacher, N Senna, and NM. NM. Who's
Nigel
NM?
Mansell.
Nigel Mansell. Thank you. I love Nigel Mansell.
Who said that?
That's Simba.
Oh wow. Okay then.
I think
I was
Nigel.
expecting it to be Carl Evans because he likes Schumacher.
Schumacher, well, I think there's loads of reasons Schumacher is the GOAT. The guy single-handedly bringing one team to the top of F1 is kind of impressive. And I don't know if you've seen have you seen the Netflix documentary on Schumacher?
I have.
Yeah, I think although it's not quite as good as Senna, it gave me some insights to where you were like, wow, he was the guy who went into Ferrari and was like, right, whatever happens, I'm going to make this team successful. And clearly had a bit of luck getting the team around him that he did. But boy,
he's another one who he knew about cars as well. So a little bit like Niki Lauda in a sense.
Yes, yeah, I think that. Niki Lauda is excellent. Although, unfortunately, most of what I know about Niki Lauda is from the film Rush, so I don't know how accurate that depiction of him is. But it's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, if you're an F1 fan, pick that one up because, yeah, you get to learn all about him, and James Hunt was an absolute riot. But yeah, no, I think going back, Nigel Mansell is an excellent shout. He's a driver who came in very late in his career. I think he was like a mechanic for so long and was in his... When he first drove, he was in his 30s, and you can't quite imagine that today, a driver getting their debut in their 30s, when you think of how young, like, Lando and Max and, Oscar Piastri are coming into the sport. It does seem mad, but he was one that could go, on his day, could definitely go wheel to wheel with Senna and give him a proper battle, and if you can do that to a great, that's how you know, like, Max Verstappen is going to be a great of the sport. Whatever you think about him personally, he's quick. He's darn quick in a race car, and seeing him go wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton, you just know. You go, yeah, this kid's a bit special. I think he's got to watch. Let's see, we've got another lap of safety car here. So we've got So we've got GOATs of the past that we've discussed. Max Verstappen is one that people might say, yep, they think that's somebody who's going to be one to look out for in the future. Is there anybody else in the field who you think's got the qualities to be like mentioned in the same breath as Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna?
No.
No? You haven't seen that spark yet from anybody?
I mean, there's some fantastic racers there, but to mention them with the likes of them three, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's tough there. I mean,
Verstappen is very, very good. There's no denying that.
Yeah, yes, I mean, you would have to have years more dominance, wouldn't it? And a lot of that depends on the car and luck. I'm going to do a little mention for, even though he hasn't got that many world titles, I think Alonso, it depends what he does this season. If he wins this season and brings it out of nowhere, that would be amazing for me. But I think he's another great driver who you just think... He's somebody who's...
fantastic season, Aston Martin.
They
I
are...
can't believe how fast they are.
It is incredible where they've sort of just come out of nowhere, isn't it? It's a testament. I know Red Bull are like a second faster than every other car on the circuit, and that's scary. But it's a testament to the regulations that you can take a car from 8th on the grid to second. They're second easily, aren't they? It's only the Red Bulls that are faster.
It's a battle between them and Ferrari, isn't
it?
Red Bull are just gonna... I think they've already won it.
Yes. Unfortunately, fingers crossed, we see some shake-up something in the season. Back to the racing here, though, at the night. Fingers crossed we've had our last safety car. The other really interesting thing to note is we saw a lot of drivers go in for the wet tyres, and it is really hammering down now. Those puddles are a lot bigger. Only the top 5 staying out on the inters, so I'm going to keep on board with CB Sambal, the first of our wet runners, and just see how much time he's gaining on those inters. Are those inters going to pull away, or is wet's the right choice to take us through the race? Yeah. Keep the Dirty Harry up front. Oh yes, gosh, you've made a lot of ground. That's up to a second. And Stokes saying, no, I've made the wrong decision already. He's gone into the pits.
Dirty Harry's pulled 2 seconds already.
Yeah, blimey, yes. A lot of those Inter drivers instantly saying, no, that felt horrible. So they've gone into the pit. So it's only Dirty Harry and Markham who have left all alone on those Inter tyres. You see a lot of drivers here. We've got Brindle there. Oh, we thought he was going to go side by side. Night Shadow thinking about it on Sambal. Very tidy. Sambal goes on the grass there. Bit of rallying. And he's kept it in total. Oh, there's a bit of side-by-side action there with Brindle and Sambal. They're all facing the right direction, but Sambal's just going backwards as Smoggy Ghost takes another place behind him. Goes to RFC Danny. Going around the outside of Smoggy Ghost. They come together with a little bit of contact. Oh, blimey, there's a lot going on here. I'm going to just dash up the front of the race as Night Shadow has already caught those Inter runners.
Oh, Britain Dirty Harry's really struggling.
Yeah.
He's all over the place. He's just lost... Well, he's just nearly lost all 3 seconds.
Yes, you can see that gap between him and Night Shadow disappearing as Night Shadow is already all over the back of him. Look at him twitching there. He's struggling to keep that car under control. Is he going to fight that? No, he can't. He just simply doesn't have the traction. Now let's have a look back at Brindle. Does Brindle make a move, or does he play it sensible and just say, no, I think Dirty Harry's going to be instantly in the pits. Look at that rain hammering down there now, and yes, the last of the Inter runners are into the pits now. Wets was certainly the right choice, and it leaves us with Night Shadow in the lead, followed by Brindle, Smoggy Ghost, RFC Danny, Siga, Sambal, and Ghost Rider, making up the top 6. Oh, I'm just going to take a breather there for a second. Where's our closest battle on track? It's probably Brindle, isn't it, at the moment, who's all over the back of Night Shadow.
Yeah. Yeah, the other 3 are coming out the pits, so...
Yeah, oh, big move, big defence there by Gab. I don't know if Brindle was just going into an ever-closing gap there, but we've seen how quick Brindle has been for the rest of the race. He clearly doesn't want to get stuck behind Gav for too long. We know how hard Gav can defend, and this is for the lead. And it's likely that these tyres will go all the way to the end of the race. And of course, we'll no more safety cars. It's vital that we get the move done now.
Oh, we have contact between Sambal and...
Oh, there's a big moment there, sorry, at the front. Brindle seems to go into the back of Gav. Gav's lost the... lost it, and I think Brindle, we've got a bit of end plate missing there, so drama up the front. Does that open it up for Smoggy? And sorry, who was it at the back? Was it Sambal who's lost it?
Sambal and Stocko.
That's a shame. Yeah, we've just seen... Yeah, that's our top two. They're both into the pits. Both must have damage. So that's another twist. It is a real shame. I think Brindle had proper pace. Both of them were being very competitive tonight. But Smoggy Ghost, suddenly, who I think started... And we're going to have a look at this. Where he was. He started down in P18, suddenly finds himself leading this race. Could he be the Jensen Button story tonight? He's in that Mercedes. Button was in a McLaren, of course, but yeah, suddenly finds himself leading. Let's hope he doesn't get a nosebleed up there.
This Ghost Rider as well, he's made 11 spots. Danny's made 5. The top 5 have made up decent positions.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stops as well. I'll keep it on the tyres for now, but well, I think I might keep the penalties up there because they're all on the wets, so the penalties tell their own story as well. The top 5, all with at least 3 seconds of Smoggy Ghost goes very deep into the corner there.
Stocko and Chelsea have made contact.
Go back there, yes, Smith doing a big move on Ant Stoke as well. I don't know if Ant Stoke's got damage, but yeah, seems to just leave the door open there. And that's Smith up into P6. I'm going to go back up the field. Johnny Smooth in 5th, trying to make the move on Zondas. I don't think he's quite got the pace. No, he's not going to go to the move into that final chicane. So keep it all very tight. Brindle back down in 10th. Got Markham in front of him. He's going to be one to watch. You've seen him on a couple of charges tonight. He's got 7 laps to rescue his race.
Well, let's see.
He's got all the way to deep on Markham. He's got the move done. Sorry, what were you saying?
It's going to be interesting now to the end.
Yeah, the field feels really shuffled up. We've got drivers up there who maybe aren't used to being up the front, or big drivers. Got Ghost Rider Zondas, Johnny Smooth. Sambal's the only one without a 3-second penalty, but he's 5 seconds behind the person in 7th place. So, yeah, he really needs another safety car or something, a miracle to happen to get him further up the field. There's a real gap as well between 1 and 2 and 3rd Ghost Rider, a full 7 seconds behind Smoggy Ghost and RFC Danny.
I think if it was me, I would be quite happy there with P2.
Yes.
Bring it home.
Yeah, and that gap, he's got 9 seconds, but he needs a gap of at least 6 seconds on the next car to keep his position. He's got that at the moment, so yeah, maybe the best chance for him is to keep going, as we see McLaren going very deep into that corner. Brindle trying to get past Sambal, but not managing it. I'll keep on board with him now. Well, he hasn't quite got the run down that long straight, so he's going to have another lap, or at least another few corners behind CB Sambal. Oh, sorry, I've turned away for 1 second and I've missed it. I think someone had a slight moment at the wall of champions.
Car. Is that a safety car?
That's full yellow. I think it's... there's no yellow dot on my screen, so I think that is a virtual.
That needs to change.
It does. Means that we can have a different chat, but we're not going to know when it ends, so it makes it even more unlikely. So I will just do a quick Canada joke in the time. What has antlers and sucks blood?
I don't know.
A mosquito.
That's a proper dad joke.
It is terrible, and don't blame me for the dad jokes. Blame Michael Massey for bringing out a virtual safety car, which is now over, thank goodness. We can go back racing, and it's Zondas who I want to stick with here, who's all over the back of Ghost Rider, clearly struggling in these damp conditions. Let's see if he can get the run on him. That gap was about 3.5. Is it going to extend or go down? Ghost Rider's extending it. I reckon Ghost Rider's probably, he's using up all his ERS. These drivers will have a lot of ERS to use. I wonder when they're going to choose to spend it.
Another penalty.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, you're right. That means
Up to now it won't make a difference.
But one more and it makes it quite interesting, the gap between him and RFC Danny. And if he gets another one, that brings Ghost Rider into the hunt for the lead of the race. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could happen now. Oh, that's a shame. Let's see, I'll stick on board with... Oh, I think he's retired in the pit lane.
He's gone in the pit.
He might have just had enough. Might have had that Nicky Lauda moment and just said, no, it's too wet out there, too dangerous. I want out of this race immediately.
It does look very wet.
Yeah, and getting wetter. Ghost Rider is clearly the cork in the bottle now. That gap between him and RSC Danny is only extending up to 9 seconds now. Zondas nearly goes into the back of him, has to go back out, and that gets Johnny Smooth, who takes advantage of that, up into 4th place. What can Johnny Smooth do against Ghost Rider? Going to try and take the outside line now. It's so wide. Is he even going to make the corner? There's a little bit of a bash there, and that means that it's Zondas who gets the move. Done back on him again. He's back up into P4 as these two are going to go hammer and tong down this back straight. Johnny Smooth looking for the move, not quite there as Zondas closes the door. He's going to go for the inside into this chicane. I don't think he quite has the run, and no, he has to pull out. But this battle between 3rd, 4th and 5th for a podium position, I think it's going to be wild until the end of the race.
RFC Danny has just took a whole second off Smoggy Ghost coming into the World Champions.
Maybe, yeah, maybe Smoggy Ghost had a bit of a moment. Like I said, he might not be used to leading the race. As Brindle continuing his charge up the field. He's got past Ant Stoke, who we know is very quick. Those two I thought were going to be dicing out the lead earlier. He's made the move. He's up into 6th place. And I've got 3 seconds to make up if he wants to get on the back of that Johnny Smooth Zondas Ghost Rider group. I'm going to stick with those 3, 4 and 5 cars now. As we've got a yellow in Sector 1. I think that's Gav, who maybe had a moment out of the pits. I think we're okay now. Ghost Rider is clearly, gosh, Johnny Smooth taking a big corner cut there as Ghost Rider I think has had a moment. Zondas making the most of it. He's up into P3. That'll mean so much. Is Ghost Rider going to have another look?
Oh, unlucky Gav. He's retired.
Such a shame.
5.
Yep. It's a shame. Let me see if I can go on board with Dirty Harry. Yep, that's an Aston Martin in the wall. So now we're down to 12 runners in this race. It's been a real war of attrition, this one. As we see these 3, Zondas, Ghost Rider and Johnny Smooth. I thought Zondas was going to make, pull away from this group a little bit more, but no, Ghost Rider is still looking very racy. Ghost Rider, of course, running our wet practice, so he should be very used to these conditions. He's the one who's got the advantage. He wants it to be wet so he can make the most of his extra work, but it's Brindle now. We said he was 3 seconds behind this group a lap ago. He's already on the back of them. He's just got to make sure that he does it safely. Johnny Smooth goes rallying there. Is that enough to make a move?
Sandal is out of the session.
That's such a shame. It's another car out. 11 survive, and we've got 3 laps to go. As we've got Ghost Rider going very wide. They're 3 abreast, and oh my goodness. Through goes Brindle. 2 cars, 1 corner. This guy is on an absolute charge.
Yeah, because you got this pace on.
He's just on a different run. I don't know. He's in a Haas. I don't know if he's having a Thomas Ronhar moment. I don't suggest that he's using hacks, but it looks like it. He just looks like he's got so much more grip around there. Oh no, I thought we had
Zondas as well, has he?
Yeah,
He's
no,
Zondas as well.
Zondas as well. Zondas went so deep, he just missed his braking point. I saw it at the corner of my eye there. And Brindle has made it up into 3rd place. And there's a gap of 15 seconds. He needs to get that gap down by at least 6 seconds on RFC Danny if he wants to try and challenge for 2nd place, as RFC Danny gets another 3 seconds up the top there. So another car in the wall. Oh no, that's Dirty Harry.
Someone spun at turn 1.
Yeah, it's Dirty Harry. He's down in 11th. I think he's almost a lap down now. I was worried it was Zondas again.
Oh, that was turn 3.
Yeah. There's so much chaos. It's amazing. You think how far Brindle was back, and Ghost Rider was up in P3. That group has just completely shuffled, and now we see it sort of smoothing out a little bit. 2nd between them. wets, it all calms down. I think now it's just a bit of the Brindle show. We'll be wanting to be put in lap after lap after lap. Let's see, have we got fastest lap details? We haven't.
I think he needs the gap to be at 9 seconds. Does he? Is it 9 seconds?
Yeah, 9 seconds. So he's got how much to make up? He's got 4 seconds to... Yeah, he's got 4 seconds to find. That's 1.5 a lap. I think it's very doable. RFC Danny, if you're listening, that second place isn't safe at all. You can't take it for granted. Got Zondas and Donny smooth as well. Zondas making the move. People are really struggling to that hairpin. They just seem to be missing their braking point, or the tyres aren't reacting as they like. They're just going so deep, and cars behind are reacting and taking advantage.
That's 9 DNF as well.
Yeah, it's been a shame, but I'm not surprised given the changeable conditions, the amount of safety cars we've had, the fact that we've gone from the softs to the inters and then to the wets. You always have to take the gamble. And yeah, big shout out to our race leader at the moment, Smoggy Ghost, who, despite a 6-second penalty, despite starting 18th on the grid, is now only 2 laps away from a maiden win in MRC. Can he keep it together, or are those butterflies in the stomach going to start making their movement? It's when you haven't read a race before, it's a very strange feeling, isn't it? That always seems to tense up a little bit more on every corner.
Yeah, you seem to make mistakes. Your focus just goes somewhere else.
You start thinking about the race win, don't you, rather than just getting into that goose state. Brindle, I thought, was on a charge, but he's gone very deep into that last corner, so I think he's lost time. He's going to have a mega last lap and hope RFC Danny makes a couple of mistakes. Johnny Smooth, Ghost Riders had a bit of an incident as well. That's got Ant Stoke back up into 6th place. I'm going to keep on board with our closest battle here as we go into the last lap. Johnny Smooth and Zondas. There might be a difference of seconds on track, but I think Johnny Smooth will want to make sure that he gets this move done on track. So he's got a few bragging rights later. All about how desperate we get now and how well those wet tyres are holding up.
Actually, Danny is doing really well there to maintain that gap as well. I think the top 3 is now the top 3.
It looks like it now. I've just looked at the YouTube chat. Mark Hodgson clearing on Smoggy, bring it home for Borough. I forgot that he was yet another Parmo-eating northerner brought into our midst.
I think Markham is as well.
Yeah, so many of them, and the problem is they're all so damn talented as well, and Smoggy's really put a stamp down here. He's had a qualifying to forget, but he's on the home stretch now. He's only got this, and then he's got to survive the wall of champions. That heart will be pumping. He doesn't want to do anything else. So tentative through there. He's done it. He's on the final straight. His foot to the floor, and it's across the line, and it's a maiden race win for Smoggy. There's RFC Danny coming home in 2nd. Let's see. Brindle is in 3rd. I don't think he's brought that gap down enough. Excellent race. Just a real shame. A drive-through penalty and a little incident with Nightside that might be investigated after the race. Home in 3rd. Zondas in 4th place after a very eventful race. Johnny Smooth bring it home in 5th, and Stoke coming across the line in 6th place. Ghost Rider, I think he might get the jump on Ant Stoke. He does as the penalty place. He's up to 6th, Ant Stoke down into 7th. Smith in the Ferrari with just a 3-second penalty, but I think he's too far behind. Yes, he will stay in 8th place. And then we've got Chelsea in 8th, although Chelsea's made the jump up from Smith into 8th, but up Smith into 9th, and Markham in 10th place, and that will be our race. Oh, that was a long one. Who is your driver of the day?
I can't see past Smoggy Ghost, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
He started 18th to take the win. That's a fantastic drive. Yeah. Especially in them conditions as well.
Oh, yeah, certainly. He was, despite whatever happened in qualifying, he was the person who kept it together. He made the move onto the wets at the right time. always seemed to be making the right decisions, and most importantly, kept it clean. I know there were 6 seconds, but when you compare that against the rest of the group, that's a very fine performance. So there you have it. Our top 3 tonight, and a very happy Smoggy Ghost at the front of the podium. Rare win for Mercedes, so hoping that they can see a little bit more of that this year.
I hope so.
So as the celebrations come to an end here, we'll wait for the results to pop up, and I will take you through our final standings one more time. So it is Smoggy Ghost in P1, followed by RFC Danny in the Ferrari in second, Brindle in third, Zondas in fourth, Johnny Smooth in fifth, Ghost Rider in sixth, Ant Stoke in seventh, Chelsea in eighth, Smith in ninth, Markham in 10th, Dirty Harry 2 laps down in 11th, and then we've got our non-finishers in CB Sandmal in 12th, Night Shadow, Biff, Scottish Ninja, Winky, 38, Man, Geke Matthew, and finally Nicole Lima. Oh, that was a long one. Thanks for joining me, Ryan. That was a pleasure, as always.
No, pleasure's mine.
Yeah, no, thank you. Always really nice to have you on board. Great insight. And the rest of you watching, I hope you will join us as MRC starts for our next one, MRC X. Let me see where our next race is in Austria. Always a fascinating that one. Lots of high-speed times. So yeah, fingers crossed you'll join us for that one. Okay, take care everyone. See ya. Bye.